Hi there, it's Friday. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie once a month on a Friday, usually the last Friday of the month. Debbie and I get lazy. No, actually, we just want you to pick the topics.
Speak for yourself.
We could come up with any one topic. We could come up with 1,000 topics.
Yeah.
But on Unscripted, once a month, we simply just want to open the phone lines and pretend that we're all sitting around having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, do whatever, and just sitting around a living room or a fire or a coffee table, just talking about whatever's on your mind or your heart. So this is your chance to call in and make your topic one of the topics on the show today.
That does sound like a fun, lazy day. I'm in for that. Okay. So, folks, this is Unscripted. This is when you get to ask us anything, revisit past shows, talk about anything that's on your mind or your heart or something that is weighing on you, something about your faith life. You want to ask some questions of us. We would love to hear from you. Here's the number, 1-833-288-EWTN. See how great you can remember that? Or it's 833-288-3986. But start dialing in now. You can ask us anything. I just wanted to say, Jerry, that it's such a great way to start off the weekend when we get to spend time with our Take Two family and have this great show that we kind of just, it moves organically, which I love. And we always learn something. And I just wanted to say real quickly, thank you to everyone who responded to us yesterday with some just really wonderful, encouraging, beautiful, heartfelt emails that you sent us, just affirming the fact that this ministry that we do here on Take Two is fruitful, it's helpful, and we just love you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will be answering your emails. Jerry's doing a great job keeping up, but I got to tell you, we just got flooded yesterday with a bunch of emails, and so I'll be working all weekend to catch up as well.
Yeah, and we also need to thank Debbie. There were some people who called, emailed in, saying that they had some issues with some of the things that were talked about on the show. We're not going to get into that now, but we want to thank you for those emails as well. Mm-hmm. Because some people feel like, if this is said or if that is said, then it represents a certain point or perspective. And a lot of things fly fast and furious on this show. Callers say things. Debbie and I say things. So email us anytime. If you have a concern at all, please. We don't want to hear just all the good gushy stuff. We want to hear. If you have, yeah, Debbie does. If you email Debbie, just make sure it's gushy.
That's right.
But
all
you can
happy,
email
happy.
me the tough stuff, okay? But your emails come to both of us. But I'm serious.
Right.
If there's something about the show that you think, we missed on something, please let us know. Debbie and I, we realize two things. We have a privileged position to be on a global platform, and we have a great responsibility that goes with that. And so we try our very, very best by prayerfully approaching this show, with the topics that we think are going to be pertinent and resonate with you, and we allow you to be the experts on the show. We just offer a few thoughts every now and then. So hopefully it comes together at the end of every day's broadcast, and we're all a little bit better for it. If you feel like you're not a little bit better for it, let us know. And, we'll charitably reply with you. We have no qualms with that at all. So
yeah, and we love to make improvements, and we do this together. That's what's the beauty of it, the body of Christ. We want to journey together. We want to get closer to God. That is the goal with Take Two. So please know our come from, and it comes from our hearts, and we just love you guys again. And phone lines are already filling up for the Unscripted show, which means you can bring to the table anything you want to discuss. Here's the number, 1-833. I ran right into that number. 1-833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. You can email us, take2, the number 2 at EWTN.com. You can go to Twitter, or you can text us. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response. Put your question in your comment. You can go be on YouTube, Facebook. We get those as well because Jeff Burson, our social media manager, is right on top of it, and he shoots that right to us on a document that we can see on our computers. So if you're on YouTube and Facebook, hi, you guys. How are you? Yeah, I already got comments, Jerry, from YouTube, and you didn't even comment. So I'm a little bit disappointed. You didn't notice that I cut 5 inches off of my hair.
Oh, well, yeah. You know what? I didn't even, it hardly even shows, actually.
Well, that's because
you're wearing black.
That's because I have dark hair,
right
and I'm right. My hair blends right in. Yeah, 5 inches. Can you believe it? I came home, my husband goes, "What did you do?"
Well, every 2 weeks I cut about 5 millimeters off of mine. So
there you go. Yeah. So But anyway, so hi to the YouTube and Facebook families. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Here's the number, 833-288-3986. This is your show, Take Two, with Jerry and Debbie, and this is Unscripted, our monthly Unscripted. So you bring to the table anything you want to talk about.
Okay, we'll start with Anonymous in Northern Kentucky on Sacred Heart Radio. Thanks for calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And let's get Anonymous on there if we can. There we go. Anonymous is with us. Welcome to the program. Thank you for calling from Northern Kentucky. Welcome.
Well, thank you for taking my call. And I've grown up in Northern Kentucky, and I've had children graduate from Covington Catholic High School. And I thought I'd give you a call and just tell you a little, I guess, local perspective on the whole thing.
Absolutely, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, we've always found the students to be very respectful. And I have to say right up front that I'm very proud of them, that, they did not retaliate. They were insulted and provoked with hateful and vile and vulgar language. And I could not have behaved that way, I can tell you that. I understand that the mega hats are considered offensive by some people, but I guess where do we draw the line on this stuff? Where would someone, when they're being offended, give them the right to offend other people? I mean, surely these students were offended by what was going on. They had these insults thrown at them, a drum being, drummed in their face and everything. And I don't know, it's hard to explain. I just don't understand. Yeah, it seems like even the bishops in Kentucky assumed that these boys were wearing these mega hats during the March for Life, and that certainly would have been ill-advised, but a lot of people jump to conclusions here. And,
well, yeah. Anonymous, let me say something on that, because a lot of people are taking down their negative comments or issuing retractions and so forth, and hopefully, the Archdiocese of Baltimore put out a wonderful, beautiful statement defending the boys and applauding them and so forth. So I don't know what the latest is out of the Diocese of Covington, and it's not my business, it's theirs, but I hope that they, do make that right. And I have a couple other things to say on the other side of this break, because a very prominent conservative Catholic writer came out very strongly against the boys immediately. Just shot off his Twitter mouth, and he repented of it on News Nightly with Lauren Ashburn last night. We'll talk about that. And we got your other takes on Unscripted on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie straight ahead. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio. And thanks to Rich and Jeff and Ryan and the entire show team at the network, EWTN. Don't forget Register Radio with Jeanette DeMello and Dr. Matthew Bunson every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on most of these EWTN affiliates. And we are talking with our friend Anonymous in Northern Kentucky, who lives in the Covington area, had a son who went to Covington Catholic High School, and you just have nothing but good things to say about those young boys. And I mentioned the Archdiocese of Baltimore putting out a very favorable comment, because that's the Archdiocese in which the March for Life took place, and just the whole scene unfolded. But Robert George, who is he's a professor at Princeton, and you may know this, Anonymous and others, very, very solid, very faithful, Orthodox, conservative Catholic. He, on Twitter, jumped right on the boys just like so many other people did, and he issued a very beautiful mea culpa on News Nightly with Lauren Ashburn last night. And so hopefully, I don't know, Anonymous, what has been your experience so far as you're kind of keeping a bird's eye view on this? Are you seeing other prominent people doing this, or are a lot of media sources kind of sticking with what they said?
Well, I think it's kind of a mixed bag, and you see it both ways. I'm not aware of any updates of any statements from the diocese in Kentucky. There's 4 Catholic dioceses. And I'm really hoping and praying that the reason the Diocese of Covington has not updated their statement is for the safety of the students in the school. I mean, the police presence around here has been crazy, as you can expect. And I'd like to see the bishops support these students in a time when we have so many people, young people, losing their faith. It seems like we ought to support them, and maybe some of the attention should be focused off of the students and really question the actions of the other 2 groups that were involved in this whole situation.
Right. Well, go ahead.
When you look at the videos, they were provoking these kids and trying to get them to react. And I'm so proud the kids didn't take the bait. They just stood there and didn't cause a problem.
Well, the kids definitely had to endure, professional protesters, because these folks go around and do this as part of their ministry work, if you will. That's what they feel they have been called to do, and that's very unfortunate that the kids. That's why I said yesterday on the show that I feel the kids were shocked by this and blindsided by this. I just want to say, I'm sorry that is happening to your community, and it's tarnishing whatever wonderful reputation your school has and everything that's happening. It's really unfortunate. My heart breaks for you guys, because I am a strong supporter of Catholic schools, strong Orthodox Catholic schools. I'm a strong supporter of them, and I just feel that when this happens, it really changes how people feel about things in different communities, and that's very unfortunate. We need to build communities up, not tear them down. And so I just wanted to say our prayer, my prayers, my husband and I pray every single day, and we've been holding up the entire community, the school in your area, and the bishops and the priests and everybody in your area to do the right thing. I hear there's another investigation happening. Maybe you could call back sometime, sir, and give us an update, because I tried calling into your area yesterday because somebody from your area said, can you let them know that the show was airing about Covington High School? And I couldn't get a response. Everything went to voicemail, or it actually went to a fax machine. So I'm assuming that people are disconnecting their phones. Is that correct, sir? Has it gotten that difficult?
Yes. My understanding, and I have not witnessed any of this myself, is there's just a tremendous blowback, not only to the high school, not only to the Diocese of Covington, but these children's parents, if they, at work, they're hearing about it. The City of Park Hills and the Park Hills Police Department. I mean, the calls are coming into everybody around here.
Right. Well, again, thank you for your call, Anonymous. We appreciate that. I tend to believe, and with the God that we serve, a lot of good is going to come out of this. And I think even for the high school, because, Debbie, as the truth comes out and as this big, huge light is shown on these young men and on this school, people are going to look and they're going to go, not only did they do nothing wrong, they are exemplary. I want to send my kids there. I want to send my boys there.
Let's pray for that. Yeah,
so,
that would be great.
They could be really. This could end up being a school that is sort of a model school in their entire community. Imagine that, the beacon of light that this it probably already is, but could even become more so in the Covington community and maybe even around the country and around the world. So let's pray for that. Let's pray that people are inspired by them and want to model, the formation they're giving their Catholic school students on what they're seeing there.
Well, and the perfect example of that, Jerry, is, these boys with their chaperones made that long trip for the March for Life. And what a beautiful display that was for them to be marching for those that can't march for themselves, the unborn. I mean, so let's remember that example of how wonderful that was. My son never made it to the March for Life. I would have loved for him to have gone to it. And these boys went to it, and how beautiful that is.
Thanks again for the call. By the way, we will get right back to your call. Sal, Gracie, Regina, Dee, we're going to get to all of you. But we had an email come in from an anonymous individual said regarding the MAGA hats. Listeners seem to be assuming the boys wore the hats during the March for Life. Did they? Well, we understand they did not. I'm adding that just in addition to her email here. Probably bought them afterward when they had time to look around. Regarding the bishops in Kentucky, when they die, God will ask them, where were the rest of your flock? They will have some explaining to do, she says. And this is, we're not criticizing them. These are her words, and we certainly pray for them always, and they will certainly support these boys. She said, no apologies as of yet. She says, so sad. I live in the Diocese of Covington, in fact, 1 block from Covington Catholic High School for 60-plus years. These boys walk by my house. My sons went to that school. Not once in all these years have I ever had any trouble with the boys or the school. They were always respectful. And then she goes on to add, let's see, Phillips keeps asking, where were the adults? Isn't he an adult? 64 years of age versus 17 years of age. The kids thought he was joining in their school chant. You can hear in the video, one boy after a while says, what's going on here? After they realized he was up to more. Thank you for discussing this troubling situation, not only for the church, but for the whole country. And that's from Anonymous via email.
Wow, a lot of people have very, very strong views about this. Also, too, did you by any chance see Church Pop Bishop Barron's take on this? He wrote
I haven't seen that yet. No.
Okay, folks, if you get Church Pop, it's another wonderful source, but from EWTN. Church Pop is great, and Bishop Barron did a great review on this. I thought it was very interesting. Okay, so up next is Sal, and Sal is in Harpers Cove, Texas, on Armor of God Radio. Love the name of your radio station, Sal. Welcome to Take Two.
So I actually have a question. I was coming out, well, my kids were coming out of RE, and they were asking who the deacon represents during Mass. Now, I understand that the priest represents Jesus Christ, but I really couldn't answer in regards to the deacon.
Well, my understanding, Sal, is there are basically 3 levels, I guess you would call them, of holy orders. There's deacon, the diaconate, there is the priesthood, and there are bishops. And bishops receive what is called the fullness of holy orders. Priests and bishops, of course, come from the priests, so we might just say priests have the ability to consecrate the Eucharist, to absolve sins in confession, to do all of the sacramental things, confirmation if they are deputized to do so by their bishops. Deacons, if we remember in the Bible, when the apostles decided, hey, we need some help, we need, we're just kind of what they say, Debbie, serving at table and these kinds of things, and all of those were good things, but they said they needed to be about, the ministry of the word and of course preaching and the sacraments. So deacons were basically chosen to be assistants to the priests, and they are allowed to do things like preach, and they can perform funeral services and baptisms and things like that. So they're really, in a way, if there are any deacons listening right now who can set us straight if we're wrong, Debbie, I think they're just really the right hand men of our priests and can do certain sacramental things, but not all the things that a priest can do.
Right. It furthers the ministry. It furthers the mission. That was my take as well. Yeah. Sal, does that work? I mean, you could probably Jerry on the Catechism would have more information, wouldn't it? Jerry's
okay.
gonna.
Yeah,
Jerry's
that actually works.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's really good. So your kids are asking about that though, Sal, but that's awesome. See, these are the kinds of conversations. And what I would suggest, because as your kids grow in religious education, they're going to be asking more and more questions about your faith. I would highly suggest getting a catechism of the Catholic Church right next to your Bible on your coffee table and say, kids, let's look it up together. Let's look at this and see what we can learn together. It's just fascinating. And the kids love it. And you can even get the teen version of the catechism. And it's a wonderful way to grow together in faith. I just have to say that, Sal, because I've been doing this for over 25 years, religious education, and I love when families do it together because you grow in holiness. What do you think?
Yeah, I appreciate the time you took to actually answer it. So thank you.
You are very welcome. Thank you for that phone call to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. The number is 833-288-3986. We're going to go to South Bend, Indiana next. Listener to Redeemer Radio. His name is Delane. We're going to go to Delane next because Delane was on late in the end of the show yesterday, and we were not able to get to you. So, Delane, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Thanks for calling back.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. Go right ahead.
We had conversations yesterday, and I was trying to I guess my opinion or my point of view of what I was wanting to express was that what I was trying to say yesterday was that those are marches, and like somebody just said earlier, these people are professionals, and when you're allowing students to be a part of that, guess what? You're going to be exposing these people to whatever goes on there. And it has, I don't know if it ever happened, but, it's shocking in the world today to see people, what if somebody pulls a gun on something like this? That's scary. But what I'm getting at is I'm a Native American veteran and I'm a cradle Catholic. So I got all kinds of points of view here. And right. So, I'm from North Dakota, and I was there at the DAPL protest. After all, and I'm from the Standing Rock Indian Reservation, and so after all that protest had gone on, Donald Trump went ahead and he signed that paperwork, and he allowed that DAPL to go ahead, and then he signed another deal that allowed opening up drilling on Indian lands. So the Native Americans, that's what he's done to people in Indian country, and they don't like it. And I was trying to express that yesterday. So anybody that wears a Donald Trump hat, from where I come from, they don't like that. And I think that's what happened to the kids, and you can't blame kids because they're kids. But I was wondering was who decided to let these kids wear a Donald Trump hat? That, and then why did these chaperones allow this to happen? But that's kind of where I was, and on the whole thing, I'm not saying that what that guy did was right either, So, but like I said, when you're opening yourself up to all this stuff, when you go to one of these big marches or so. But that's pretty much all I had to say for today. So, thank you.
Delane, but before we let you go, can I just ask you a quick question? Because given that you said that you are a Native American and a Catholic, I wanted to ask you this question
and I'm also a veteran.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so very much for your service. I appreciate that. And I know that, I come from a military family, so I have to tell you, I'm just all about the military. But I wanted to ask you this question. How did you feel did you see the reports, which really bothered me? And I just find that the mainstream media is not at all addressing it. Like they're just fluffing over it like it was no big deal. Nathan Phillips's group that they, protest and stuff. And I understand you made your point beautifully clear about how it affects Native Americans. But I wanted to say, breaking into or disrupting the sacred liturgy, our Mass at the Immaculate Conception. I mean, to me, I think it's going across lines, and I'm curious as to your take on that. I don't know if you heard that report, but the day after they tried to disrupt the Mass. As a Catholic, how do you feel about that?
I agree with you. That is a crossing the line, but there again, like I said, these people are highly offended by Donald Trump. And so I imagine he had revenge in his eye. I completely disagree with what he did. I seen that on the news that he interrupted mass. And so there again, that falls back on what these protesters can do, just about anything that's beyond crazy, right? And so I don't condone that at all in any way. And as being a Catholic, I think that comes first in my life. And
me too. Yeah.
I think he's offended. He is, and like I said, seeing those Donald Trump shirts and Donald Trump hats just offended him. And so it's easy to let this stuff spiral out of control. And somebody's got to step up and say, you know what? And another thing I was going to mention too was that nobody's really stepping up.
Right.
But who's the
Delane,
person?
hold that thought for just 1 second because you hear the music. Please stay with us just a little bit longer. We'll be right back and we'll pick up this discussion on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. This is Unscripted on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we're talking to Delane. He's in South Bend, Indiana. He's a Native American, a Catholic, a veteran, and we're enjoying this conversation right now. And Delane, I took that break, please forgive us. You heard that music, and we had that immovable break. But, during that break, you sparked something in me, Delane. I just wanted to say thank you so very much. I had a huge aha moment as you were speaking, because I believe you said something to the effect, I'm Catholic first, or something to that nature, or maybe that's what I was thinking. And I got to thinking, if we could just all be Catholic first, that's what's really going to matter when we stand in front of Jesus at that judgment day. And I just thought about that, Delane, and you sparked that in me. And I just want to say thank you so very much. See, I grow from this show every single time. And I know you wanted to share something else before we let you go on with your busy day. Go right ahead.
Yep. And then I've been listening to these comments all day yesterday, and like I said, these comments are spiraling out of control. You could see I could hear the hatred in the voices, but another thing is that like we said, I think I believe in that march that the kids did, because that's right to life, and But I think people going forward, everybody has to be more safety-minded and conscious about participating in this kind of stuff, because anything can happen at these places. So
you're very right, Delane. Well, I've been to the march a couple times when I was attending college at Franciscan University in Ohio, and I went to the march a couple times, and I seem to recall that anytime there were anti-protesters or different groups that weren't engaging in the March for Life itself, there was always a police presence, kind of a dividing line there. There was, and I don't know, I wasn't there this time, and it really surprises me, Delane. I know you're right. The young, innocent high school boys and everybody going to the March for Life, they have to understand that these things are going to happen and be vigilant and be watching and be aware and be kind and patient and all that they were. But I don't know. I have to ask if anybody was there and you saw a police presence. I didn't on any of the videos that I saw, at least not going up to and trying to defuse any of that stuff. It seems like if there were any law enforcement personnel or anything around there, they just didn't go in and try and break this whole thing up. And you're right. I mean, it could have been very, very serious, very, very tragic. So, Debbie, I think Delane has made a lot of great points.
Yes.
We've got full phone lines, Delane. Please forgive us. We'd love to talk with you some more. Feel free to email us if you have any further thoughts. Take2@EWTN.com. But we got Gracie and Regina and Dee and Anthony and Pat, and we got still about half the show to go. So thanks, Delane. God bless you.
Thank you. Okay, Gracie is up next in Tiffin, Ohio, and I believe it's St. John Paul the Great Radio. Gracie, welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello. I wrote down what I'm going to say, so I'm reading it. Steve Ray had a talk on a CD called Swimming Upstream. Everybody needs to hear this teaching. Then you will understand the battle we're in. The Covington boy was only doing what he promised to do at his confirmation. He was being a soldier for Christ. He is my hero, and I will pray for him every day. Also, please pray for Gene Kin's grandson. He needs a healing. Thank you.
Wow, Gracie, that is so sweet. Basically, she's saying something so beautiful about Nick Sandman. He was only doing what he, when we're confirmed, we're made soldiers for Christ. And Gracie is recognizing that. Debbie, that is so, so beautiful. Thank you, Gracie. I know Nick would appreciate that so much. And you asked us to pray for somebody, Gracie, and I don't know if we heard the name, but we want to make sure we know who that is. So can you repeat the name of the person you want us all to pray for?
Gene Kin's grandson.
Okay, Gene's grandson. Do you want to give us the grandson's first name or no? It's okay if you don't.
I don't know it.
Oh, you don't know it. Okay.
Gracie, how old are you?
8.
Wow. What grade are you in?
4th.
Wow, you're smart. That's awesome. Thank you so much for calling. Do you listen to Take Two?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to give you a virtual award just because I love your call. You can call the virtual award anything you want, but you got it from Take Two. It's a virtual award, so that means you just have to imagine it. Okay, Gracie?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
How precious. Bless your heart.
Precious is right. Oh, my goodness.
It's Unscripted today. Anything you want to talk about, Regina is next in Southampton, Pennsylvania, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on Holy Spirit Radio. Hello, Regina. Thank you. We're so glad that you're with us. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for accepting my call.
Sure.
What I would like to say is families, especially young Catholic families, just reminding them to pray the rosary together before even having children. Praying together, and then as soon as they have their children, I know, when they're a few months old, the child is not going to know what you're doing, but always to have the habit of praying before you go to bed, the rosary. And then as the children are a little older, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is a habit. And when they become teenagers or, 17, 18, 19, or in college, commuting to college, and they're 20 years of age, and you call them from their room down, it's rosary time or prayer time. It's a habit. And habits are, once you implement habits when they're young, they won't say, "Oh, Mom, but why are we going to pray the rosary?" We've never done that. So the reason I feel it's very, very important is because when I was young, my parents with 7 children, we always pray the rosary before we go to bed. Now, as I, in my 20, 23, 24 years of age, I kind of stopped praying. But when I get a little older, maybe 27, 8, and start having the children, I start praying. And I just want to let also the young, the 20-year-olds, the 19-year-olds, 25, that get married and that were used to praying the rosary or even reading the Bible before they go to bed with their parents or saying some prayers, those that stopped, like I stopped, because Mom wasn't there to tell, to remind me, come to the living room and pray, or a friend didn't say, we pray before we go to bed. So it's really important, and also anyone can Google the 15, I believe, promises that Our Lady of Fatima, where I was born in Portugal, has promised us if we pray the rosary every day. And another thing is, my children, I have 7 children, they're in Catholic schools, some in colleges, some at work. The one thing that I would like you to maybe talk about is, as my parents took us to the sacraments, the confession and the Good Friday, during Lent on Fridays for the Stations of the Cross. Today, with confession in college, in Catholic schools, they go to confession during the school. So I don't have the privilege. Well, I don't have. My child will say when I'm, before Christmas or before Easter, they'll say, "Mom, I went to confession, so I'm not going to go today with you." I find that, yes, it's good that Catholic schools take our children to confession, but then it's not a habit. Now that they're 20 years of age, if I say, let's go to confession, oh, Mom, I don't know what you would say. I don't know if it would help that they would not take their children to the schools to confession, the children in school to confession, and have the parents do it. I know that a lot of parents would not do it, but then for those that are faithful, that would like to take their children, our children are going to say, I had my confession, Mom. And then when they're, out of high school, it's not part of a habitual thing that a family does, so they're not going to go. But anyway.
Well, Regina, you're making
thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, no, I was going to say your points are really fantastic because, especially, you're talking, I think, to a younger group. Not you're talking to everybody, but you did mention, if you're in your 20s and your 30s and you have kids, do these things for them. And what families do is obviously individual, unique to them, but they have to be planting those seeds of faith in their young kids' hearts. Debbie and I hear so often the number one prayer intention that parents have is for their kids who have been away from the faith, and we always ask them, well, how did you raise them? Oh, we went to church, we prayed the rosary. We say, don't worry. Like you said, those 15 promises of Mary for those who pray the rosary daily. And Our Lady, if kids are consecrated to our Blessed Mother, parents, do what Padre Pio says: pray, hope, and don't worry. And Debbie, they're going to come. They're going to be light years ahead of their peers, even if they wander away a little bit. So, how many of us have wandered away a little bit? We need to have hope, and we need to pray for God. It's God who does that work. So, Regina, you're making great points. We got to lay that foundation.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say too, Regina, my sister always brings up about how, I think she might have learned this from my dad, that church is a good habit, that doing these things are a good habit. And at first, when I heard her say that, I was like, I don't know if that rings well with me. But then I realized it really does, because you just confirmed that for me, Regina, because we have so many bad habits we can easily fall into. We have to cultivate all these wonderful spiritual habits so that when we find those tough times in our life, we can go back to those habits that we know so very well, that brings us comfort and that brings us strength. And Regina, that's why Jerry and I, we launched this great challenge at the beginning of the year. Everybody does these New Year's resolutions and they never really last. And so we thought, let's do one together as a Take Two family. And so we asked the Take Two family to please, if they could send us an email at letspraymore@gmail.com, just to say I'm in, because we just wanted to get an idea of how many folks are in. And I believe we have several hundred that have opted into this challenge of saying a rosary a day, the Memorare, the St. Michael prayer, and doing it for 365 days or whatever you can do, because exactly what you're saying, Regina, it creates that great spiritual habits that we all need and we all long for and desire. Like St. Augustine says, our hearts are restless until they rest in you. I mean, that is so true. That's why we have a lot of restless people in this world. Regina, you made some great points. Love it, love it, love it. Keep calling. You can always email us at take2, the number 2 at EWTN.com.
Thank you, Regina. And everybody else, send your email. If you want to pray more, it could be anything you want. We're asking if you can. Make it a rosary, St. Michael prayer, and a memorare. Just send your email to letspraymore@gmail.com. Just say, hey, I'm in, count me in. We're not going to use those email addresses for anything. We just want to know who's with us there. You're probably not going to get a reply from us, so please, if you could abstain from asking questions because we have our other email address. But we did get an email at take2@EWTN.com, Debbie, and it's let's see, where, hold on a second here. I've got to get the name of the email. It's Alex. Alex sent an email.
Okay.
And he says, hi, Jerry and Debbie. I would love it if you and the Take-Two family could pray for my wife and me. My wife just had an ectopic pregnancy yesterday and had to have emergency surgery to prevent life-threatening injuries. And the result, we lost our first child. And although we are doing well, prayers would be so much appreciated. Thank you. So family, got to pray for Alex and his wife.
Absolutely.
And certainly for the soul of the little baby that they lost.
Well, and there's no accident that you brought up Padre Pio. So let's all ask Padre Pio to please help Alex and his wife get through this. And remember, you said, Jerry, pray, hope, and don't worry. And the end of that quote is, because worry is useless. So we're going to be praying, Alex. Please know that and take comfort in that. Okay, up next is Dee, and Dee is in Midland, Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network. Dee, thank you for waiting and welcome to Take Two.
Good morning. I would like to talk about a headline in the morning paper that said Pope Francis defended migrants at the start of a trip to Central America, taking up the issue Thursday at a Panama City meeting with bishops from the region. It sounds to me like the Pope is defending the migrants picking up and coming and going wherever they want to go. Living in Texas, migrants coming here impacts us greatly.
Right.
I only live a few hours from the border, and I would like to see the Pope visit with the bishops about advising their flock not to pick up and come, because it is against the laws as currently written here in the United States for people just to come over for only economic reasons. Yes, our laws need to be changed, and yes, the Congress needs to address all this, but it hasn't happened yet. And the Pope needs to defend not only the migrants, but the laws of the countries where they're headed. I'm very upset about it. Seems like he's taking the wrong side. What do you think?
Deb, if you have a thought, I have a couple things.
Go ahead, Jerry. You go first because I'm still processing this.
Well, yeah, this is such a complex issue because, we want to, obviously, if there are people fleeing bad situations in their countries, economic things can even get so bad that they have to go, but it could be persecution, it could be dictators. And so I mean, every country, south of the United States has various things going on. We have our own problems. So, so the Pope, I think, is really probably speaking more on a 38,000-foot level. Speaking from a 38,000-foot level, we need to be open, we need to be charitable, we need to be receiving, welcoming, things like this. We need to, Christian charity. At the same time, Dee, you're pointing out, you live in an area where you're going to be directly impacted by this, and there's no question that there is no doubt about this. It's proven that, along with all of this flood of migration comes a lot of problems. I was watching News Nightly last night, for example, Debbie, and one of the members of the Senate made the point that I think he said about 2/3 of those who are in these caravans and are coming north are running into, they're being extorted, they're being tortured, they're being raped. I mean, there's so many things going on. So this is a problem that is way bigger than just, way bigger than just the Pope, actually. But yes, Dee, you're right. I think it does fall to the bishops of our country, to the government of our country, and hopefully all people could see the just and the right and the fair thing to do, both to help those who need the help and at the same time to make sure that it is not in any way, even in a small way, to the detriment of our country. I don't know if that helps, Dee.
Jerry, you
Debbie,
said it beautifully. Dee, I think Jerry said it wonderfully. What do you think?
Well, I've seen what has happened in Europe. The few countries that did have borders that they defended were able to at least control the migration for their country. Mm-hmm. And those that welcome them with open arms are having serious problems in their country in many of the same ways that we are. Right. So to me, it says we have to get some control of our border, because the not having, I mean, if not now, when? That's my question.
Dee, let me just share something. This is not, I'm not representing the Catholic Church with this statement. This is my own personal opinion, because I live in a border state as well. I live in Arizona, and I'm not representing EWTN on this. This is just Debbie Georgiani's personal opinion. Okay, this is just common sense by Debbie G. Okay, I've read a lot of things about this, about the migrants that travel to different countries to be able to start a new life, and when they interview them, there's so many that said they wish they could have stayed in their own country with their own cultures and their own sense of beliefs and their own customs. But because their countries were so ravished and things that were happening, they couldn't. So they had to move. You know, I go back to this. Why aren't we building up why aren't we helping to build these other countries so that people can stay where they are, where they can best flourish, where they can prosper? I'm all about obeying laws. That's me, Dee. I'm all about it. I think laws are there to protect us, to safeguard us, to keep us in a disciplined manner, because sometimes we need that. And so I'm all about obeying laws. And so I feel that we could do more to help others benefit in their own places where they can flourish, rather than having to relocate them. And, that's got to be really hard on people. I don't know. That's just my personal thought. What do you think, Dee?
I'm hoping that his meeting with the bishops in South America yesterday accomplished just one thing, and that the bishops work within their community and with their greater governments of their countries to make it more feasible for them to stay. It has to be an economic reason, because the majority of them are coming over only for economic reasons. And also the majority coming over are young men that have not been trained, have no reason to stay, and they're coming with nothing to offer. They're just coming because there's nothing there. It behooves the bishop, I believe, the bishops that he addressed, to work toward that end, to make it more livable for them.
Yeah, and Dee, you made another good point. The legitimacy of the reason why a person is fleeing their, I guess, native country. I was watching, again, News Nightly with Lauren Ashburn last night, and they interviewed a lady who was fleeing her country because her husband was abusive. And I thought, that's tragic. That's very, very sad. But I thought, does that meet the criteria for, fleeing one country and coming to the United States? I mean, Debbie, if God forbid this would never happen, if Marty was abusive to you, you wouldn't go to Canada. You'd probably just go call the police, or go stay with your sister, or, so I mean, and I'm not criticizing this woman who said that. I'm just saying that, at what point do we, what is it that determines those legitimate reasons? And I don't get paid to do that, and I'm not going to I'm not going to venture a guess. But Dee, thanks for your call.
Thank you, Dee.
You offer a lot of good thoughts. Yeah, all three of us live on border states. I live in California. Actually, just maybe an hour or two from the border. So thanks, Dee.
Speaking of that, real quickly, can I just do a quick shout out? I promised them I'd do a shout out, Jerry. Yuma, Arizona, Yuma Catholic Radio, FM 92.5, Voice of the Desert. You guys are awesome. I'm going to be there March 1st to help with your Yuma Catholic Radio. So please get to the dinner. I want to meet you. My husband is driving me to Yuma, Arizona. It's about 3 hours from Gilbert, Arizona. And I'll be with you guys. I'm so excited. And they're playing Take Two right now. Okay.
Great. All right, let's go to Anthony. Anthony has been waiting a good long time, gets one of our Patience Awards today. He is in Texas, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on Guadalupe Radio. Hi, Anthony. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Sure.
I just wanted to read a quote from Franciscan Media I think is relevant. A deep and genuine concern for other people will remind us that the discovery of truth is not to be a victory for some and a defeat for others. Unless all can claim a share in that victory, truth itself will continue to be rejected by the losers, because it will be regarded as inseparable from the yoke of defeat. And so confrontation, controversy, and the like might yield to a genuine, united search for God's truth and how it can best be served.
Wow.
Would you do us a favor and read
Yes.
that one more time, Anthony?
And
We wanted
email it
make
to us.
Yeah, and maybe even email it to take2@EWTN.com. But I want to make sure that we all heard that very, very clearly, and maybe you got about a minute and a half if you can read it one more time.
Sure. A deep and genuine concern for other people will remind us that the discovery of truth is not to be a victory for some and a defeat for others. Unless all can claim a share in that victory, truth itself will continue to be rejected by the losers, because it will be regarded as inseparable from the yoke of defeat. And so confrontation, controversy, and the like might yield to a genuine, united search for God's truth and how it can best be served.
Debbie, didn't you make a point similar to that earlier in the show today?
No, but I would have. What? Go ahead.
No, I thought you said something like,
I
yeah,
did.
I think you said
thank
something like, really, it's the truth that we're trying to seek here. Or one of the callers did. Either you or one of the callers did.
Okay, but that was really nice. Thanks, you guys. Wow. But Anthony, you have to email that to us at take2@EWTN.com. If you can do that, that is just, wow. That hit me really deeply. And Jerry, it goes back to so many things. We have to start creating some win-wins. There's, you even look at our families. When you have spouses that are fighting with one another, there shouldn't be winners and losers. We should be able to really put the truth first and be Catholic, be Christian first, and let it shine from there. I mean, I'm all in favor of that. And maybe that's not exactly the most, complex way of looking at things, but I lean towards St. Teresa of Calcutta, and she felt that way. And you know what? I think we need to learn from that. And Anthony, what you just said is a definite affirmation that we need to keep going in that direction. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing that with the Take Two family.
From Facebook today, where we are streaming video, Jesus in Mexico says, could you please talk about the main message the Pope is giving in the World Youth Day? Jesus, I have not watched enough of it yet, but I can point you, if you get EWTN television, I would encourage you to watch, because they are doing a lot of coverage each day from World Youth Day. Yep. And I'm sure they're doing wrap-ups on on News Nightly. And if you don't get that on your television, you can certainly go to EWTN.com or download the EWTN app, and they have all of their TV shows and radio shows there. So that would be a way to do that. And Debbie Vicky from South Dakota, what should I do as a Catholic when I see these posts on Facebook as the vote in New York on Thursday for abortion for all 9 months? Do I respond or leave it alone? Debbie, what do you say to Vicky?
I would say, Vicky, I have been responding to those posts saying, God help us, Jesus, please come, please pray for the people in New York City. I mean, my heart breaks. What's happening? I grew up in New Jersey, used to look at the New York skyline, 20 minutes from New York City. It just absolutely just hurts my heart and my soul to know that this got passed, and then the grim and the happy celebratory looks on the politicians and the representatives, and the lighting up of the World Trade Center in pink. I mean, it is just it's just disgusting. I can't even describe it, and it's sad. We need to pray. We need to pray hard. That's all I could say, Jerry. I'm sorry. That just
we have
breaks
a
my
best
heart.
of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Actually, the encore of tonight's show at midnight Eastern, best of tomorrow at noon Eastern. We're going to redo the social media footprint show we did a couple days ago. And Debbie, Monday, we're talking about, are we risk takers? What's that about?
It's about if you take risks, and what are the advantages of that and the disadvantages. How has that helped you in your spiritual growth? We're going to be talking about risk taking on Monday, and that's just going to be a wonderful show. But thanks, you guys. Keep the emails coming. Keep the conversation going.
Let's pray more.
Yep, let's pray more at gmail.com. Until Monday, have a beautiful and blessed weekend. See you real soon.